Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the Horns Down podcast. Everybody put them horns down real quick. We are joined by a friend of the show, a friend of mine, the host of Nino's Corner, Nick Battle, everybody. Nick, what's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up? What's going on?
Not much, man. We just over here chilling, about to talk some college football, some topics that we gotta get to. I
Yeah.
think that you know what? Let's flip the order. Let's flip the order of this. Let's go ahead. Let's get right to it. Okay. I want to hear this, right?
Yeah.
What happened? Why couldn't y'all finish? What happened? Texas
Hey,
Bama.
come on.
Give me your spiel, man. This is a safe place.
We come on, we all understand. You can't lead the Heisman Trophy winner with 90 seconds. You know, Texas defense did their best. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the game. 20-19. If you have a defensive coordinator and you ask them, look, next week you're going against, probably the best team in college football or one of the top three teams in college football, and I need you to hold them to 20 points. Hey, he did his job. He did his job. I think what happened, man, once Quinn left, the game plan changed, especially after Hudson got hurt too. So he hopping around on one foot, and I was surprised that we kept it that close because once Hudson got hurt, man, I was just kind of scared that they were going to blow it up, like basically just out the water. But the defense kept us in. The offense played very well as well, man. It was just a hard fought game, man. Hard fought game.
Man, it was a great effort by Texas. Can't take anything away. Can't take the performance away. Now, there's some things that we're gonna talk about, get into the weeds of whatever. But you know what? From an OU fan who has caused a lot of ruckus in your community, from an OU fan who constantly trolls and hates on everything Texas does, I will say this: hats off to you. Great performance. It gives you guys something to talk about for the next few weeks. What if, the what ifs? What if Colt would
What
have
if
played?
Quinn
What
played?
what if what if
I
what if
know.
Quinn would have played? Yeah. So with that being said, did Alabama lose the game, or did you guys really play great
Nah, we
football?
played great. Nah. I'm not taking nothing away from the team. The team played great, man. I mean, just look at the defense. The defense, outside of the 81-yard run that they let happen, um, they held their running game to, I think to like 80 yards for the entire game. Quinn Ewers had more passing yards in pretty much in the whole game going into the fourth quarter. And he didn't even play the second and third quarter. So that tells you what our defense was doing. Our defense was lights out, man. They were physical. I think everybody who knows Alabama, I think their weakest points are the cornerback this year and the offensive line, to be honest with you, which is kind of weird for Bama. Like our defensive line gave them everything that they could handle. Yeah, man, I'm not taking nothing away from our team. One thing I will say, and I know people gonna, get mad at me when I say this, there were a lot of missed calls on both sides.
Mhm.
There were holding calls missed on both sides, but holding's different. Holding's ticky tacky. You can call holding on any play. My thing is, it's the egregious calls that didn't get called.
Mhm.
Sanders in the back of the end zone, in the south of the end zone. You know, um, uh, Blatant pass interference. The dude's basically pushing him while the ball's in the air, just out of bounds. Uh, Hudson Card threw a ball to Worthy. The the safety basically climbed up Worthy's back, pulled his jersey, climbed up on him to try to get an interception. No pass interference. That's a blatant pass interference as well. Keelan Robinson caught a pass for 7 yards. He gets tackled with a face mask right in front of the ref. No call. And then the infamous, let's be honest, the safety that wasn't the safety. That should have been a safety. Bryce's shin was down. I can show you the picture. Bryce's shin was down.
It
How is it
wasn't
not a
down.
safety?
It wasn't down.
Yes, it was. His shin was down. Bryce's shin. Okay, go to my Twitter
Look,
page.
I've seen it. I've seen it. You put it in our group chat. Now, Nick, I had to
His
stop you
shin was
there.
down.
That
His
was
shin was
that
down.
was a really boom boom play. That was a really
Well,
boom
but
boom
but
play.
but in boom boom plays, if I'm not mistaken, and if there's any refs listening, you always overcall the play because you can always take it back. You never undercall a play because you can never go up. You can always bring it back. So that was a safety in the end zone. it looked like a safety. Even if you didn't think it was a safety, you call it a safety, and then you go to the box. And if it's not a safety, you say no safety. Bryce got the ball out, or no safety, fourth down, right? So that's what you do. You overcall the play so that you can bring it back. But if you undercall the play, you can never get it to where it needs to be.
Look, my whole thing is this right here. Okay, I think we kind of agree. I think we agree on this. Okay, all the moral victory stuff goes out the door.
Oh no,
Only
I'm
thing
not
that
saying
I'm
more of.
looking
I
at.
didn't say more victory.
I know that.
No,
I know that.
no.
I'm talking to some particulars out there, but I'm just saying this right here. Look, wins and losses, that's all we're looking for. And I'm
Yep.
not saying that OU will go out there and beat Bama or do this or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, hey, look, at the end of the day, there's still some things that Texas needs to clean up to win a game like that. Now, obviously, your quarterback gets hurt. I get that. He's booming. Now,
So tell me,
here's a question for you, all right? Did Quinn Ewers so in the midst of this right here, Quinn Ewers was running Sark's script. I mean, damn near perfect, right?
yeah.
What do you think would have happened kind of moving further along in the game once they got away from that script?
Well, we saw exactly what Hudson Card was able to do. Hudson Card had a lot of open deep throws he just didn't make. Those are throws that Quinn makes. Quinn made a perfect pass to Worthy in the end zone. Worthy just dropped the ball. You catch some, you drop some. That was a 4-point swing right there. I mean, it was a perfect right in the bread basket. Worthy had it, dropped it, went to the end zone, had it caught, hit the ground, and it bounced out. Right. So that drive ended up being a field goal. But Quinn, he just has arm talent. I mean, that's all it takes. And Alabama's defensive line cannot get to any one of our quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the shock. I was shocked about that. I thought Alabama's defensive line was going to have their way with our tackles.
Well, Nick,
what's up?
Y'all were at max protect 99.9% of the game. I've heard it all. Kelvin Banks is a first rounder. Kelvin Banks is this.
No. Look. Let me pull up my stats because we like to talk about this. I track them. You know what I'm saying?
Track them. Go ahead.
I track them. And so I got us down here in the formation. Our biggest formation that we were in 11 personnel, 23 plays out of the 66. That's the biggest percentage of plays that we had was 11 personnel. And in that 11 personnel, we know who the tight end is. He wasn't blocking. He was going out getting routes. That was JT Sanders. Kelvin Banks looked damn good. He looked good. They frustrated Will Anderson so much that Hudson Card threw a ball to JT Sanders. It was a loss because JT Sanders tripped over his own feet. It was a loss. As he's getting up, Will Anderson just goes and shoves him. He was that frustrated. The play was over. I think the catch was for like -4 yards. The play was over. He was so shook up. He just had to go and basically just push the man. He was frustrated because he couldn't get to the quarterback. Kelvin Banks played an awesome game, man. I'll advise you, Kchris. Go look at that film. Go rewatch the game and just put your eyes on Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks, if I'm not mistaken, was the third highest graded offensive lineman in the Big 12 this week. The first highest graded was Christian Jones for Texas as well.
We will see going forward. We've seen this before. I'm just gonna say
we've seen this
before.
No, we haven't.
Allah. Somebody gonna say that clip, but Allah 20. Allah LSU. We've seen this before. Y'all play somebody great. Y'all play somebody close for those that second game of the year, and then boom, it's kind of boom or bust for the rest of the year. So the whole thing is, are we going to see more of the same? Or are we going to see you guys? I mean, because you guys got a hell of a matchup coming up, and we'll get to OU Nebraska. I know you want to say that. No. I'm just saying now, do you guys got a hell of a matchup these next 2 weeks? Texas Tech look like they have a pulse out there. I'm not saying they're going to beat you guys, but UTSA is a pretty damn good team, and we've seen kind of what some of these lower level FBS teams have been able to do these past couple of weekends.
That's true. My thing is, I know people are tired of hearing Texas fans say this. It's a different coaching staff. It is, right? we'll take a look at the Charlie Strong years. Let's take a look at Charlie Strong with the Notre Dame "we're back" game, right? We're back. No, we're not. No, Texas isn't back. Charlie Strong was a good defensive coordinator dressed up as a head coach at Texas, and it is what it is, And I'm not saying nothing bad about it. I think anybody who's seen Charlie Strong be a head coach, even post Texas, he took Willie Taggart's 11-1 team and he had him to 2-11 in 2 years. That shows you the kind of coach we had here at Texas at that point. We come and get Tom Herman. Now, one thing I will give Tom Herman always loved playing the underdog. He loved being the underdog, right? So he always had his teams up to play when there was nothing for them to gain. Like everybody has to, everybody thinks you're going to lose. That's when Tom Herman's teams played the best. So the LSU game was an amazing game for them because he had them believing that they were the underdog, which they were, right? But after that, once you're favored, that's when he didn't know how to turn it on. He didn't know how to say, they don't think you're going to win. Oh, no, they think you're going to win this week. Now, what do I tell them, right? Because he hasn't really had any kind of success as a head coach outside of Houston, and then at Houston, he lost 3 games this last year, and I think he lost to Navy, right? The thing I like about Steve Sarkisian is, and people love to talk mess about Steve Sarkisian in his Washington years. The man took an 0-12 team to win 9 games within 5 years, okay? Which is, to what anybody wants to say, that's Washington. It's not USC. It's not UCLA. It's not Oregon. They're not getting the recruits that those guys are getting. Steve Sarkisian got guys at Washington to get drafted at quarterback. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in for a minute. What?
Nick, that's a good point. But like we said, your coach still has not had a 10-win season.
Your coach
still hasn't had a 10-win season yet.
Your coach ain't either.
That's fine, but our coach ain't starting from behind the 8 ball like your coach is. Your coach has already had a few different stints that didn't work.
Your coach ain't either.
I'm just gonna let you know.
Your coach put up 33 points against Kent State. Come on, man.
Let's sidetrack for a second.
With your starting quarterback.
Let's sidetrack for a second. Look, everybody, again, this is the Horns Down podcast with your host, Kchris with a K. We got that guy, Nick Battle, Mr. Nino's Corner over there. And then we also have Jay Smith down here. Jay, this is Nick. This is one of those Texas fans that I'm cool with. Not by choice, nice. But it's by God's will and intervention. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to convert the good man. He served this country for 17 plus years, so I'm trying to convert him to the winning team. The good team, the good guys. But he keep on putting on them damn orange shirts, man. But let me, Jay, go ahead and enlighten us, man. Tell us, what did you see during this Texas and Bama game?
All right. To be honest, there's 2 things I saw. One, that it looked like Gary Patterson took over the defensive coordinator position. Was he out there running the plays? Was he the one doing everything on defense? No, but Gary's great at defense. Like, real talk. That's the one thing I give him at TCU. His teams always has great defenses, so you can see him as this special assistant in consulting. It felt like one of his games. It felt like he was using much higher talent than he would get at TCU, and he was helping implant them into forcing Bama into kind of doing what they wanted them to do. That was a really good game. If Hudson Card didn't hurt his ankle, y'all win that one. I was telling that to Ty not too long ago at Around the Table Sports. If Hudson Card got hurt is what took y'all out because you couldn't throw it deep anymore. You lost the ability to really put some on those passes. And you could tell with the way he was doing it because he was trying. A few times he was throwing it, and you could see just kind of like a duck in the air flounder at the end of the pass. Not at the beginning. The beginning looked good, and then all of a sudden he just flutters. I was like, oh, okay, that ankle is tearing him up. He can't get a good press on those passes. But y'all getting it. Now, the biggest struggle was Bama was prepared for Bijan. They wanted Bijan. They wanted Roschon Johnson. They didn't want either one of those 2 beating them. And they kind of did that. That was their whole game plan, it looked like. And I guess they kind of downplayed Quinn coming into this one. And Quinn started cooking. He looked good.
133 yards in less than a quarter.
I was impressed. I was like, okay, this kid might be what they tried to advertise him as to be. Let's see if he can continue this. Now, unfortunately, he's gone for 6 weeks? 4 to 6 weeks?
Well, coach says day-to-day, but 4 to 6 weeks is what.
Yeah, I saw because it's an AC joint or SC sprain or something like that or whatnot. So, that's something that has to heal.
Sprain.
Yeah, especially because, and that's his throwing arm, wasn't it?
No, non-throwing.
Non-throwing. Woo.
But you still
That
don't
means
run
that
him
there's a
out there.
chance.
You still don't.
Yeah, you
run him
no,
out.
because you fall on that. The second time, hell, we saw that with Baker Mayfield when he was with the Browns. He was running around with that messed up shoulder, and it kept getting separated during the game. And you see a dude doing this all game.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's going to target. So I digress on that part. He looked good too. He looked like he was ready to take command of that. And Sarkisian's a really good. He's a good offensive coordinator. We've seen him do some things. We've seen him be special in some capacity. I mean, he had that 1 year at USC, and then his life just kind of flipped upside down. But he can do it. So this is not a game to put your head down on. And a combination too of that heat out there at 120 degrees on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's always been the problem with Texas is that y'all start to kind of slow down at the end of games, and it's just because it's hot in Texas and you need a little bit more depth. But I think Sarkisian is bringing that in. You mentioned the Charlie Strong era. That was my only issue with Charlie's. He kept changing out coordinators. You keep doing that, you're gonna lose your job. You don't deserve your job if you can't hang on to coordinators that aren't leaving for new jobs. These dudes weren't leaving because they were getting promoted to head coach at other places like Nick Saban does and Bob Stoops does. No. He was firing them because they weren't doing very well. After a while, you got to look in the mirror. So overall, this era with Sark could end up better. I'm hoping that he keeps this type of momentum because I like when Texas is good because I like when Oklahoma beats a good Texas team. I don't like when Oklahoma beats a bad Texas team. It ain't no fun.
Hey, Jay, let me tell you something about that, though, is when it comes to, Bama kind of loading up to stop the run, yeah, it was easy. It was easier for him to do once Hudson got hurt because they just stacked the box because they knew he couldn't throw deep.
Exactly.
So I think, just in my honest opinion, if there's a healthy Hudson Card or Quinn, those linebackers and safeties aren't going to be up as as tight. Bijan's going to have some kind of room to run. It's a counter. You know what I'm saying? It's a counter, and it's just
Fair.
Texas didn't have that counter once Hudson got hurt because he couldn't throw the deep ball. And also, when it comes to you're talking about Charlie with the coordinators, right? A lot of people don't realize this is the first time in a long time, probably ever in some of these guys' college careers, like a Jamison. This is the first time he's had a position coach for 2 years in a row.
See,
this is the first time, and so
that's huge.
We see how much more impactful he was last week and this week. He had a pick this week. He dropped the pick, got hurt on that pick, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first time that I think we finally are getting some continuity. I like to see what Gary Patterson. You can tell he's had a big influence on the secondary. You can definitely tell he's had a big influence on the secondary, and you can tell like PK is a front seven guy. So he has those guys short up
right now because nobody's giving him any type of credit. They're just attributing everything that you guys.
No, I think this is right up his alley. He's a guy that when he was at Washington, he didn't get the credit. It was a him and Jimmy Lake show. Yeah. He's a guy that I think is a selfless guy who doesn't mind getting all the limelight. A lot of people outside of the college football realms didn't know who the hell PK was until
Sark hired him. Nick, that's the problem. Because if he ain't hungry to go get another job, that means he ain't trying to coach. I'm just telling you.
He wasn't hungry to get another job for 24 years. So what's the deal? He's been a coordinator for so long.
Don't compare those two. Don't compare those two.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All I'm saying, you can't say that BV's been the best defensive coordinator for 20-some years and he ain't tried to go get another head coach.
I'm just saying. I don't know if he's hungry. He ain't had the opportunities he ain't had the opportunities.
No, tell me this. So Chris, hold on, Chris. So is BV hungry?
Let me moderate.
Hold on. So is BV hungry or is BV just getting that last big ass check before he retired? Because the coordinator check ain't the same as head coach check.
BV is doing. BV is showing you what he's doing, but we'll get to that in a
coordinator check ain't the same as head coach check.
So no, it ain't. What I was gonna say to you, he's a team player like that. So what I was gonna say to you is this right here, okay? Bottom line, Nick, do you guys beat UTSA and Texas Tech these next 2 weeks? Because
yes,
they're gonna be really good matchups.
Yes, let me tell you why. UTSA, they just went into overtime with Army, right?
Nick, because you know what type of style Army play.
Because they couldn't stop the run. Also, they lost the overtime game against Houston, who just got beat by Texas Tech. UTSA, they're a great coach team. Traylor is a great coach. He's going to be a Power 5 coach one day pretty soon. He's a great coach. Texas, I'm telling you, Chris, it's just these kids. It's a different feeling, and I'm not just saying that. I'm just being honest because we weren't saying this when they played against LSU afterwards. And no. The way that this team played, physical. I mean the physicality against Alabama and the depth that they have. We haven't seen this in a long time in Texas when it comes to being physical, right?
Yeah.
They look like they care. They look like they care. I'll say that. They look like they care, especially against Alabama.
They care, man.
They look like they care, which is something you need your team to at least show in a game that close.
They care because they have a coach that cares. You ask anybody from that Tom Herman era about Tom Herman, and they're going to tell you about Tom Herman. You know what I'm saying? You ask anybody who's been around Steve Sarkisian, these kids want to play for that guy. Man.
Nick, that's all great. That's all great. Couple of points. Let's point this out.
Go ahead.
Now, fighting in truth. Now, you guys know me and him, we butt heads an awful lot, and he ain't even on camera. But I will say this right here. He watched the same game that I watched too. That game was a really physical game. And you saying they can't shut down the run. It's not a lot of teams that can go in there and shut down that triple option attack by Army. Army was airing the ball out a lot too in that game.
304 yards.
Yeah. Now,
hold on. My bad. So they let a dude from the Army throw for 341 yards. I ain't worried.
What about Hudson?
I ain't worried. Dude.
What about
I ain't
Hudson
worried.
Card? Okay.
Hey man. I'll put in Rojo. And let him do that.
Let me finish.
Yeah, Frank Harris for UTSA threw for 359 yards too in that game. So it was more so just a shootout. They were just going back and forth constantly. I don't know, but
let me finish my point. So this is where I'm trying to get, okay, about UTSA. UTSA is not a team you can just sleep in and just say y'all just gonna walk in there. It's the perfect track game, just as perfect as the Nebraska game is a track game for OU. This is a trap game because you guys are coming off a disappointing loss. The energy is going to be wild for the fans, but it may be low for y'all. I'm just saying, we've seen it time and time again, Nick. It's I don't know. I'm not saying that y'all going to lose, but I'm not saying that y'all going to win at the same time. Jay, what you got?
I think it's going to be a better game than what we think. I think UTSA brings something different to the table. Texas should not lose this game.
They're not.
Y'all got to win this game. Just critical. And Sarkisian said this. He said basically the Nick Saban quotable of quotables that Nick Saban always says. Rat poison. Don't let that rat poison get y'all. Because everybody's telling y'all, oh, it's UTSA. You're going to blow them out. You're going to beat them. Just everybody knows. They're a very physical team. And they play hard, too. They play very hard for that coach. So as long as the players don't walk in there like, oh, it's UTSA. We'll beat them road runners. They're nothing. Y'all should be fine. It may be closer than Sark's going to want it to be. But once you get the experience of winning those games with adversity, having those really tight games and you just gut it out, that's going to be a better thing for Texas going forward than it is, honestly, either getting blown out or blowing some teams out. Yeah, that Alabama game was perfect for the mentality of what you all want to put together going forward, especially, honestly. And, I mean, all jokes aside, seriously, that Oklahoma game is going to be tough on both of us. It's going to be tough on Oklahoma. It's going to be tough on Texas. Somebody's got to walk in there and actually buckle down and win it, especially after last year's shootout, the way it ended. Yeah, I know Texas is thinking in mind, we can't let that happen, while at the same time, we've got to be forceful. We got to impose our will early, and we've got to be focused. Got to focus on UTSA first. Don't let those lookover games get you kicked in the butt.
But I think that's what Sark's going to do. I mean, even in his press conference today, Sark's usually like one of those, he's a nice guy. He talks to the reporters nice. He had a little bit of sass to him today. He was just like, he was on one today, and I think he knows what he has in this team. I think he knows the identity that he has in this team. I think he knows that the leaders on this team are completely bought in. And when those leaders are bought in, it kind of permeates down. And the guys who weren't bought in last year are now starting to see the fruits of what can happen.
Yeah.
They see like, oh, shit, we just played Alabama and did what? Okay. Yeah, all right, PK, you're right. I wasn't listening last year, but you're right. Let me try. So
y'all going to win the Big 12 championship this year?
We got a shot, just like anybody else. We got a shot like anybody else.
It's pretty open though. This year it is pretty open.
It's open. We got a shot like anybody else. I'm not gonna promise anything, man. This is young, and look, we got to put variables in here now that we might not have Quinn for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's honestly, we might not have Hudson for a few weeks. We might be on a third string quarterback against UTSA. Huh?
That's my fear for you guys against UTSA is that Hudson Card's going to be out there limping. They're going to try to force him to play. Well, he's a competitor, so he's going to want to play. They're going to let him play, and he's going to be out there limping, and it's not going to look the same. And so it's going to be very deceiving what that Texas offense really is when he's out there not able to throw in the ball 20 yards like he would like to. Yeah. They're going to have to try to find a way to. I don't know what it is. You may need to bring in another quarterback for a game. Probably Texas Tech will probably be the one to let him kind of rest.
Yeah.
If anything, but you got to find that because West Virginia, they're reeling right now. So you should be fine against them. But that also is, to me, the trap game before you go against Oklahoma, especially with them coming to the crib. Yeah, that's a trap game. You got to watch out for that.
That's a trap game. Yeah, I'm reading the comment here. I'm not jinxing. I said we got a shot. That's all I said. We got a shot.
Look, guys, hold on. Jay, you're missing something, okay?
Okay. Where my blind spot at? Where my blind spot at, bro?
Rocat. They can do the Rocat, man. That's what they can do. All you against UTSA.
I'm not saying
if you don't have at least 10 Rocat runs, I'm not watching the game. They didn't do their job.
No, but honestly though, I think Roschon Johnson is going to be a bigger piece of this game. For one thing, Bijan's shoulders dinged up. They said he's day-to-day as well. Rojo's going to have a bigger impact in this game. I think they are going to use the Rocat. And I think they're going to use that coupled with whoever starts at quarterback, whether it's Hudson Card, whether it's Charles Wright. I don't think Malik's going to play because they said he's not healthy yet either. So we went from having Quinn, who was going to be our guy, and having Hudson, who was a good backup, who is getting backdoor calls from other schools. Like that's the word. And so it's going from losing those two guys to going to a possible redshirt sophomore and Charles Wright. So I think Texas is going to use the Rocat quite a bit just to ease some pressure off of who's playing.
Do me a favor.
You did not have this energy about Hudson Card coming into this season. You didn't even want him to see the field.
No, I said I didn't want him to start. No, you're completely right. You can roll the tapes back. I told you're the one who said Hudson should start, and I said no, sir, Bob. No.
Okay. With that, if there's anything, I got to throw a little jab piece in here. Somebody get Bijan an SUV and get him out that Lamborghini so he didn't mess his shoulder up for the next game. That's just the kind of thing you need to do. Dude, him crawling. Can you imagine that dude that size crawling out of a Lamborghini later in the season in November?
227. He's like 227, right?
My hips hurt thinking about crawling out of a Lamborghini at that age.
I don't drive none but trucks now because I don't like to get down no more.
I want to go up. I want to just go. He's gonna be pulling himself out of that thing. He's gonna mess that shoulder up even more, man. I want Bijan healthy. I like him. I like him. Him and Cedric Benson and Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams was some of my favorite running backs in college football history, and I've always enjoyed him. So I need him to be good coming up to this game. So when Oklahoma beats him, I feel better about myself.
Ain't gonna happen. We got y'all. I see Quinn to be healthy. Come on, Quinn.
Not healthy. Don't worry about that. But what I'll say, hey Jay, we may have to get you on that episode too, because it gets tense around there, boy. Them parts right there when we link.
I want it. I want it.
Tell you that, boy, because it's kind of like I don't know. I think it's. How should I say this? We got them the first 2 times. They got us this last time because they pulled out some receipts. So that's fine. Me and Seth got plans for you and Nick, or you and Steven. So I just want you to know that, okay? We got some plans for y'all. But moving on. So one last thing right here, okay? This will be the last thing that we say about Texas, and we'll move on to the other topics. Did Alabama do anything in that game that convinced you that they would win a national championship this year? And I mean, they had 15 plus penalties, which is really uncharacteristic of a Nick Saban team. Bill O'Brien, I mean, his play calling at the time was just about as questionable as Lincoln Riley's down the season last year. Pete Golding is like a unicorn. Every once in a while, he'll show you something that's just rare. And I mean the defense. He'll show you a rare defense that you're like, hey, that they look damn good. But every so often, the groundhog loves to come up and pop his head up on an odd day and say, "Oh, well, this is how we play on a sorry day." But again, my question: did Alabama show you anything that in that game right there, just going forward for the rest of the season that says, "Hey, this team is going to win a national championship"?
First off, how come when Texas plays them well, it's a bad day for them? How come two good teams couldn't play each other and just are physical as hell
Nick,
against
answer
each
the
other
question.
and play a damn good game?
Answer the question.
Okay. So who's Bama's gonna come out the West? They're gonna come out the West. A&M's not beating them. Ole Miss ain't beating them. Mississippi State ain't beating them. Auburn ain't beating them. Arkansas, I think, is the only team that I would say has a shot, but they don't got. I don't think they look. You got Bryce Young, all right. And what I tell you, Chris, I tell you this all the time. A transcendent quarterback erases a lot of deficiencies. And for as horrible as Alabama's line was last year, I'm not gonna say horrible, but they allowed more sacks last year than Texas offensive line allowed on Casey Thompson last year, right? I mean, think about that for a minute. And they still went to the national championship game. And let's be honest, they had their two best wide receivers out the game, and they still made it competitive, right? So Alabama's Alabama. They got a culture in place. They know how to win. I expect Alabama to come out the West. I expect Georgia to come out the East, and it's going to be a dogfight again. That's just how that's how the cookie crumbles in the SEC. The West is Bama, and the East is Georgia, and whoever wins that game is going to go be the number 1 seed, and whoever loses that game is going to be the number 4 seed, and we're probably going to see this again. I mean, it just is what it is. So to answer your question, did they show me anything that shows that they could be a national championship contender? Yes. His name is Bryce Young. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and he erases a lot of deficiencies and mistakes within any team because he is a transcendent player in college football history.
I'm glad we agree.
You know what? Let me add to that. Nick, I think you made a great point about Bryce being able to kind of be almost like the great eraser, like kind of like how Patrick Mahomes plays for the Chiefs or whatnot. If everything breaks down, he finds a way to erase all the problems and finds that wide open dude all the time. Bryce is basically playing against his offensive coordinator, and we're seeing it for the second straight year. He is fighting Bill O'Brien every game and trying to figure out how to get that ball down the field. Because I was trying to figure out in that game why he wasn't throwing to his receivers, but then I realized, it seems to be something with the scheme because they're not prepared against what Texas is throwing at them. This is where the Gary Patterson piece came into play for me because it reminds me of him at TCU going up against Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. That was one thing that Gary was always good at doing, was scheming up a defense to try to not get the wide receivers involved. If he could, forcing it to be more so towards the running backs. Gary is a really good mind when it comes to that. And, I mean, y'all got something special going forward. I mean, unless he takes another job somewhere else, keeping him as an analyst for a couple years is good. But Bryce Young is fighting his OC. That is his biggest issue. Once O'Brien is gone, which will probably be next season, Nick's going to find him a job because he's about to graduate from the school of rehabilitation. He's already coached. He's rehabbed him. It's done. He's like, son, I like you for 2 years. Exactly. And that's the sucky part. He's like, look, I got you for 2 years. I'll take care of you. But at this point, you got to go. I need somebody else that I need to take care of. And we've already talked about it. It's probably going to be Scott Frost, which sucks, but at the same time, whatever. I get it. He's going to do it. Scott Frost is going to throw up like all these crazy stats on offense, and he's going to get another job.
Milroe as a quarterback too. With Jalen Milroe. Come on.
There you go. Just looking out. Just failing upward. How do you fail upward like that constantly? But anyway, to answer your question, Chris, this Alabama team still to me looks like the favorite because of Bryce Young. That's really it. They've got a lot of stuff to work on. That Pete Golding defense, I don't know what the hell's going on with that secondary. I don't know what the hell's going on with that defense in general. Will Anderson was way too antsy in that game. He was just excited, and he needed to stop, and he did not. He kept getting freaking offside calls like,
frustrated.
Dude. Slow down.
Put them paws on.
Look.
Put them paws on them. I get you.
I'm going to end it here, okay? And then we're going to move on to the next subject.
All right.
I'm looking directly at Nick when I say this.
What's up?
Good teams find a way. Remember that. Good teams find a way.
All right, we're going to see.
Moving on to the next subject. got to talk a little bit about Nebraska. Now we're gonna go a little bit of opposite where everybody thinks we're gonna go. We're gonna go directly to the coaching search. Hear me out on this, okay? Okay, fellas, hear me out. Jay may know where I'm going, but I want you to hear me out. What is one of the big what is something that a lot of people, no matter what fan base, say about Nebraska? They isolated themselves when they went to the Big Ten, right?
Yep. Mistake. Biggest mistake they ever made.
How do you get back into certain areas that you wanted to that you were in, that you had somewhat of a pipeline in, the Texas area, right? The Texas, you're going down there Midwest and you're going down south, right, to get those recruits. So in my opinion, I think there's one person that can go up there and do the job, because obviously he's done more with less. He's done more with less for 30 plus years. So I think we all should know where I'm going with this. I think Gary Patterson would be the perfect coach for Nebraska. Nobody's saying he's going to come up there and win a national championship, but what I'm saying is this right here. He lays the foundation for what you're trying to do going forward. He's a guy that can come up there and get that defense to play how they need to play. We already knew he can recruit the hell out of the DFW area, hell, Texas in general. He's going to be able to go get recruits. He'll probably bring in a hell of an offensive coordinator, and he'll go from there. And I think he would be successful in the Big Ten, just to be quite frank with you. My uncle brought up that point to me yesterday, and I was like, hey, man, I know that a lot of people are talking about Matt Campbell from Iowa State, but, man, Gary Patterson, to me, in my opinion, he makes so much sense for a team like Nebraska trying to branch out and get back to winning football.
Two things with that. There's two things with that. One, the Nebraska isolating themselves from everybody else going to the Big Ten, 100% factual. This is the thing. Whenever you're out recruiting these kids, the one thing that they would like to have happen is their parents be able to watch them play, especially those they can't afford to travel up that high. The beauty of them being in the Big 12 is that there are going to be a lot of games in Texas. There's going to be a lot of games in Oklahoma. Yeah, they're going to have the opportunity to see their kid driving 6 hours instead of driving, 14. So for Nebraska to be able to get recruits there, the state of Nebraska is not as fertile as it used to be. Like since like the 70s, 80s, even the 90s when Nebraska was really doing it, they're not as fertile. And so for them, their recruiting grounds has to be in the Big Ten teams. Now, what they need to get, I don't think Gary Patterson's the dude. They need to get somebody more West Coast. And the reason why I say that is when they start playing USC and UCLA, there's incentive right there for a kid to go to Nebraska, develop and grow up, but still have their parents see them when they play games out in LA. That's the opportunity. That's where they need to start really. They look for a coach, someone with recruiting grounds out in California for when they come, as well as someone that can embrace young players up in, Lincoln, Nebraska. Y'all been to Lincoln, Nebraska before? I've been in Lincoln, Nebraska a couple times. Been to Omaha, Nebraska. No shade to the people up there, but it is Lincoln and Omaha. And like I said, the grounds aren't as fertile. So Gary Patterson, I don't know. I don't know if he'd be as successful up there because you ain't getting no Texas boys to really go up there that are highly recruited when they ain't going to actually play on national TV very often or at home close enough to their parents to see.
But if you
I don't think that happens.
If you can bring Nebraska back, the streets is calling for Nebraska to be.
You can't bring them back. That's the problem. They don't got recruits locally.
But listen, Jay, nobody's asking him to go out there and get those 5-star recruits. He can go out there and do the same damn thing that he did at TCU, which is go and get those lower those 3 stars, some lower 4-star guys or whatnot, and come up there. And we've seen what he's done. He's done more with less, and that's my point. So the whole thing is they need a pulse at Nebraska. Nick, I'll let you go.
But just like Jay said, when you're talking about going to get these lower 3-star recruits, you're talking about going into, Dallas and Houston, some of these inner cities, some of these rural areas, Arp, Texas, Carthage, Texas. And just like Jay said, mama can't afford to come see you play every week. I need mama biscuits every other Saturday. I can't get mama biscuits every other Saturday if I'm in Nebraska. Yeah. But if I go play at Houston now, because they're in the Big 12 in a couple years, or I go play at TCU, or, even Baylor, that does take these 3-star kids, these low 4-star guys. Houston would be hella happy to get some low 4-star guys consistently, right? Or some high 3-star guys.
Yeah.
You start to get those guys coming there. Son can go get Mama biscuits every other weekend.
Hey, that's the reason why the South. That's why the South has, when it comes to recruiting, get so many players too. It's kind of like Frightening Truth has just made mention of. It's cold. I mean, these Southern kids going up there in the cold. I mean, not too many of them handle it. Now, Ohio.
But there is. You know what? What Scott Frost has did, and I will give him this credit. He has made a pipeline to the state of Louisiana.
There you go.
Which is odd. My cousin is committed to go to Nebraska. So he's a wide receiver. He's a high 4-star guy. They just got a wide receiver last year from Shreveport as well. So he's going and he's recruiting Louisiana pretty well. But you got to put the product out there as well. If you're not winning, these kids from these southern states, they're not going to want to go in the snow. It just is what it is.
So this is something else that I would say. Okay, I'm gonna add this point in too. Okay, transfer portal. I think he could get it done in the transfer portal as well. I think it just seems too damn good to be true. It's just like them. He's there for the taking. Somebody's gonna go get Gary Patterson. Whoever gets Gary Patterson, he's gonna come in there and turn that program around or keep it going.
If he wants to be got.
Yeah, if he wants to be got. No, that's
Gary Patterson's not a spring chicken. He'll be 63 this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. We've all seen Gary Patterson on the sideline sweating and toweling.
Nick, you saying that because you already know he's your future defensive coordinator.
No. I'm not saying that. I mean, the only thing I'm saying is if Gary Patterson's still there and this defense is doing what they're doing, there's no need to promote him to defensive coordinator because he's doing his job as special assistant. He's probably getting paid pretty damn well to do it and not have to worry about all the BS going to go recruit and sit in kids'
the boosters would get
living rooms.
He'll be making more than PK. Hell.
Hey, question though, with all of this conversation around coaching and stuff, why ain't Tommy Frazier on staff?
Well, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you why. We know Tommy Frazier. We grew up on Tommy Frazier, right? Just like people love to make the jokes like the kids that are going to Texas now, they don't remember Texas winning the championship. They were 1 year old, 2 years old. When is the last time somebody that's 18, 20, 21 years old remember anything good about Nebraska?
I mean, it's nothing. You're right. I mean, because the lead, when they left to the Big Ten, everybody basically forgot about their Big 12 accomplishments. My point is that a lot of these parents, of these kids, can talk about Tommy Frazier. They can say, "Oh, I remember the days of Tommy Frazier when he was there." Wait, he's a new coach. He was very relatable. Everyone liked him.
Everybody loves him.
He's a very loved dude. He's beloved by college football fans from the 90s, us.
Yeah.
That's somebody you should go after not even just as an advocate, but bring him on staff. He was a coach up there in the state at a smaller school in the early 2000s, but
that's true.
Anybody heard from him? Bring him in. Just have him in, just have his presence.
Just have him
he
there.
brings a winning mentality. He was the national champ. 33-3 when he was coach. Well, he was playing quarterback there as a starter. Come on now. Bring something like that back. And it doesn't feel like Nebraska ever goes back to their roots like that. They do like to try to do the Michigan thing of bringing in a former guy that used to be here. Bring a Nebraska man. Nah, man. Bring in someone that's going to be a splash. And then I hate the thought. Urban Meyer has been floating around in my head. I don't know if it's floating around everywhere, but I don't know if he'd take it because they're not ready to win yet. He likes to take jobs where there's a national championship within a year. But he's someone that you can go after. That's a flashy pickup. That's a flashy play. But bring in Tommy Frazier. Just bring him to staff.
Hey, Kchris, go ahead, my bad.
I gotta get this point in real quick. We just talked about it on Ty's show. Shout out to Ty, Around the Table Sports. Okay.
Shout out. What's up, Ty?
So this is what I have to say. All right. John Russell says Patterson could be a good start, but I agree with Jay Nino. You're going to need a flashy. Okay, stop right there. Flashy. That is the problem with a lot of programs. Okay, I don't want to say anything, but hold on, got my wrong directions. But
What?
fan bases like that, they need a flash hire every 5 minutes whenever they're hiring somebody new, and we see how that worked out for them. So I will say this: you
Hold
need the
on.
right guy to come in there and lay the foundation. Nobody is saying
You tell me Charlie Strong's a flash hire?
Nobody's
Hey,
saying
man, that was the most controversial hire y'all ever made. I'm surprised it happened.
My point. So you're trying to tell me Charlie Strong was a flash hire? A flashy hire? From what I understand, he was the fourth choice. All right, so I mean, come on, Kchris. Come on, Kchris.
What was Herman though? What was
Herman was? Herman was.
And that's the problem. But to go back to this point, though,
I got you.
One of the things I was going to say here is that we're talking about Urban Meyer. We're talking about flash coaches in Nebraska. That's what Nebraska just did with Scott Frost. I think I've heard people say, hey, they were comparing him to this was a Nick Saban type move for Nebraska. The whole thing is that didn't work. You have to go get the right guy. Nobody's saying you have to go get an up-and-comer or something that's going to make flash. You don't need to do that. What you have to do is revitalize your fan base and get a coach to add structure to your program once again, and then get you on the right road. I mean, that's all that you can do right now. That's all that you can hope for. Your program is in bad shape. You're about to go out here against OU in what really is a trap game, because I can tell you now they're going to throw the kitchen sink and everything else.
Stop it.
Nick Whipple's going to have his imprint on that offense. He's going to throw the ball 30,000 times.
Chris.
He's terrorizing you, Nick, right now. That's all he's doing.
We told you about Casey Thompson last year, me and Steven. Okay? We told you about him. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely warned you about Casey Thompson. So he goes to Nebraska, okay? And mind you guys, I love Casey. I'm the president. I love Casey Thompson. I want to see him do well. I really do. But the same thing is happening in Nebraska that's happening at Texas. It's going to get a bunch of empty calorie yards that look great at the end of the day. But when the game is on the line in the fourth quarter, pick. Or a crazy play in the most inopportune moment. Oklahoma State, a pick six. Going in for a touchdown, pick six before halftime. That was the story of Casey Thompson. And Nebraska is getting that. They're getting exactly what we've had. And not throwing shade at him, because he's getting a hell of an NIL deal from what I understand. He basically NIL money up and Nebraska hit hard, right? So I'm not throwing shade at him. But I'm just saying Nebraska's getting exactly what we had last year, but you guys laughed at it and said that it's us and our culture, but the same thing's happening, and it followed him. So the only thing I'm getting at here, I heard a name today, Chris. I heard a name that could fill in Nebraska, and they've been talking about this for a few hours today. And the name Tom Herman floated up as being a guy who could be in Nebraska. And when I heard this, Chris, at first I was like, nah, but then I started to think. Chris, I started to think.
I'm not against it.
Jay, hear me out on this one. Hear me out. I started to think, what does Tom Herman do best? I just told you. He's able to get a team that always has that you're nothing. You're nobody. Nobody thinks you're going to win. You're going to win. He was custom modeled to Mike Tyson for his players. He had him thinking
I'm not going to let you come on my show and talk that bull crap. All right, that is unadulterated bull crap. Nobody gives two damns about that man.
I'm just telling you. That's what I heard today on some college football shows that they floated his name around.
I'm not going to let you come out here and do that to these good people. These good people didn't come on here to watch you talk about Tom Herman. So here's the name.
Chris. No. Hold on, Chris. All right, so just think of what Tom Herman did at Texas in 4 years. All right. First season, 7-6. That's an upgrade from anything Scott Frost did at there. Second season, 10-4. That's a real upgrade over anything Scott Frost has done at Nebraska. The third season, he went 8-5. Okay. The fourth season, he went 7-3. You don't think Nebraska would appreciate that? We got to stop looking at Nebraska as being the team that we want them to be what Ohio State is now. We want them to be the Nebraska of the 90s.
We just want them to be good,
college,
period.
This is a new college landscape. So if Nebraska is constantly winning 8 games a season, is that good for college football? It's better than winning 2 and 3 games a season. Is what you're doing now.
So here's a name that just floated in my mind, and I'm like, hey, Nebraska, if y'all want to go after the flash hire, y'all want to go after somebody who I think probably deserves a shot. How about this right here? Not Gary Patterson, not Matt Campbell. I think Matt Campbell's another coach that makes sense as well. He's a guy that you can go get and you can say he's the right hire, right?
Bill O'Brien.
If you want to do a flash, What'd you say?
Bill O'Brien.
There you go. Penn State's former coach. There you go.
No, I got you. Listen. I got you a guy. Todd Monken. Georgia's offensive coordinator. Y'all not feeling that?
No. Because what is Georgia's offense? Georgia is winning despite their offense.
Nick.
Georgia last year won despite their offense.
Nick.
Am I lying?
He not lying on that one. That offense,
but is that more
finally showed up in the national championship game? Yeah, besides that, it was defense that they were winning because
Georgia won despite their offense. I'm not bringing in a guy who I don't know if Georgia didn't have that defense, would they be in the same position that they're in now? Hell no. Look, listen to this. Alabama's defense took a step back last year. The offensive line took a step back, but the offense was still electric last year, man, because they got that boy back there. But the offensive line was electric. I mean, their offensive game was electric. You have to, if I take that dominant defense away from Georgia, is Monken going to elevate Georgia to be in the college football playoffs? No, not happening.
Well, hell, they didn't know who their quarterback was for like most of the year. They just kind of plug and pull. But hey, it looks good thus far. Let's give it a shot. But I'm just saying,
it does.
I'm just saying. Let's go ahead and move on, fellas. Let's see. What should we talk about? Oh, I know what we talk about. Nick, we'll start with you. You say this isn't a trap game. I say it's a trap game.
I didn't say so much it wasn't a trap game. I just expect Texas to come out here and handle business. No.
I'm not talking about Texas. I'm talking about Nebraska and OU. I think that.
I don't think it's a trap game. I think you guys, if you guys are as advertised as you like to tell me, you guys, Lebby is this, Lebby is that. Lebby has the quarterback that he has everything. The football gods fail all together. You got Lebby. You got a guy who knows his system, been in this system for 2 years. There's no hiccups with a guy learning a brand new system. He knows his system in and out. And you're going against Nebraska, who just got beat by Georgia Southern and then got beat by Northwestern too. And you're trying to tell me that Oklahoma shouldn't take care of business? It's not a trap game.
Oh, no, I'm saying Oklahoma should come out here hands down and handle business. Offensively, we're still trying to click. We're still trying to gel. We've had
I see.
The start against Kent State wasn't ideal. However, I mean, the second half, you just saw the talent was on display. Things started clicking. They made adjustments. I'm proud of that. But there's definitely some things that we got to fix. There's things a lot of teams got to fix. So not going to sit here and say that we played perfect football these past 2 games, but at the same time, we've done some things that we haven't done in quite a while in Norman against FBS competition. Hell, not even any year that Lincoln was here, right? But the whole thing that I will say is this right here is that it just feels like this is the perfect storm. You've seen these games time and time again. Hell, we could talk about Texas coming off a disappointing loss, facing a kind of a team that's kind of on the up and up right now, right?
Who's on the up and up?
You're
Who's on the up and up?
UTSA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. I thought you meant last week. I'm like,
But basically, but no, I'm just saying that Nebraska, they're coming in here. The wide receiver coach is the interim coach. Can we just take a second and say, hey, job well done, Nebraska, for finally having an African-American coach in any sport at Nebraska.
But they got him from LSU, right? He was he was
at LSU under Ed Orgeron.
Yep.
So he's
another candidate.
He may win the job. To be honest, the players love him. Now it may end up similar to the Marcus Freeman situation, but still, he may win that job.
It starts
That's
now. So
for
so the
interim.
whole thing so the whole thing is this right here. They have no pressure on them whatsoever. Nobody's expecting them to win this game. Um, the wide receiver coach, he was their wide receiver coach. Now he's an interim head coach. Him and Whipple got something planned up. This has been a game right here. Now, Venables has gotten a better of the matchup against Whipple. Or was Whipple only at Pitt for 1 year, or was he there for a few years?
I thought it was 2. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I thought it was 2 years. I'm not
So
sure. I thought it was 2.
my point with that is this right here. I'm confident in our defense. Our offense has to come and fire on all cylinders. They're going to air the hell out of that ball in that game. Whipple is not going to want to try to run against that line. He's going to try to air it out. It's going to be a lot of quick pass, just like I said it. Nick, I wish we would have did a pod about the game because I called what Texas was going to do. I said it's going to be a lot of quick pass. They're going to get the ball out of Quinn Ewers' hands as fast as possible and not let that rush go ahead and obliterate that line, right? So I could see Casey and them coming out here doing that. I don't necessarily think that they're going to be doing a lot of bubble screens. That's not what they like to do. They like to run an intermediate game with options on the back end as far as the deep ball. So I think for OU, you have to come in it seems to me that you don't have to come in there and be exotic or do anything that you don't want to show on tape just yet. But you definitely have to be disciplined on both sides of the ball. No turnovers, and can't go up there and let the crowd get into the game. Because that team is trying, they want to play inspired football, and they want to do it on a high level, and they get a primetime game this Saturday. So that's just my thing. I'll let you two go.
No. Chris, you guys got a good defensive line, right?
Yeah.
You said
right?
what? Yeah.
I said so. Yeah. Okay. I just watched Georgia Southern's defensive line push Nebraska's defensive line all over the field on Saturday.
Yeah.
I watched Northwestern push Nebraska's offensive line all over the field 2 Saturdays ago. I think we all can say that neither Northwestern or Georgia Southern, they couldn't put their 2 defensive lines together and have more talent than the OU defensive line. Your defensive line should manhandle Nebraska's their O-line. They should make things tough on Casey. This game shouldn't even be close. I'm just going to be. This is Nebraska, who hasn't won more than 3 games in the last 5 years in one season. Was it 3 or 4 games? Anyway, Scott Frost got 5 years, and he only got 5 years because he's an alum. You know, after 3 years of whatever he did before, he should have been fired, and they should be on another coach getting things implemented and having a real team to play you guys here on Saturday. But this is not a trap game. If you guys consider this a trap game,
I just think the narrative now are going to make it. They're going to turn it into that. Jay, what you got?
I was going to say, I think the reason why people are considered this one of the mini trap games on OU schedules, who's coming up next? Kansas State. At the house, at night. Kansas State looks good. Kansas looks good. I don't know why. My bad. My bad for mentioning Kansas.
Nah, it's
my fault for
good.
mentioning Kansas, dog. I won't mention Kansas no more. We'll leave them off the table. Kidding. But Kansas State looks good. They look good, and they're one of the more tenured teams in the conference this year. So I think that's the reason why people see that one as a game to be concerned about in comparison to Nebraska. Now, what adds to the trap factor potentially is that we're traveling to Lincoln to an interim coach, and we all know players play really hard for an interim coach for that first game. That's about it. Now, you're right. Georgia Southern beat up on that line, so did Northwestern. OU doesn't have an excuse not to do that. They have no excuse to not just abuse them. But I'm going to also be realistic in the fact that once OU gets going, if we get going early, we ain't gonna open the playbook and we just gonna kind of coast through the game. Yeah. We won't put our foot on the gas in this game. Yeah. And it's more of a why show, and I mentioned this on Ty's show earlier today, why show your entire playbook when you can win with just page 1? Why give Texas film? Why give Kansas State film? Why give Baylor film when you don't have to? And I think that that's going to be the mindset going into this one. The most important games is going to be the slate right from Kansas State going forward. In this game, I don't think it's a trap either, but I see the trap factors We can't go in there just cocky thinking that we're just going to just beat the crap out of them, but we need to walk in there and go beat the crap out of them, period.
It's going to happen. Look. If Lebby and Gabriel are who y'all say they are,
here you go
in this system. Now, Kchris been talking this. It's like a message from God. I mean, it's just like Lebby and we got so.
Look at the numbers. He threw for 3,600 yards as a freshman for this dude. I mean,
I'm with it.
You can't speak the gospel to him. He don't believe that.
No, Kchris. I told you guys, I am totally with that. I even told you guys, I said everything was set. Everything this offseason for OU set up perfect.
This was the perfect storm you could possibly have for a coaching staff change.
Coordinator, and then after you get your offensive coordinator, you go get his quarterback that he had at UCF and did freaking amazing things with to come here, even more experience and more season. It's perfect storm. There's no hiccups. It should be no hiccups in this offense with your quarterback, right? This should be easy. Yeah.
I don't think our problem is the hiccups with. I mean, I think our biggest hiccup right now is to the offensive line, and we're still trying to gel that piece. I think that's where the biggest problem we're running into because of Wanye Morris being out. We got two transfers that are basically starting now, and they're still getting their feet underneath them. Yeah, so I think that's more of the issue than the quarterback play. I think that's where you see more issues. I mean, every school has that problem. If you bring in a bunch of transfers, especially after a regime change, they still got to figure out each other. And real game footage is so different compared to playing against each other. You don't want to hurt each other for the most part. I mean, you want to have fun. Right.
We got two freshmen on our line. We stood up for Alabama.
I ain't mad.
We got a freshman left tackle. We got a freshman right guard. I don't want to hear about no transfers that got real film. I don't want to hear about it.
Nick, y'all lost.
Half our two deep is true freshmen.
Yeah. You know
I get it.
Jay, you know why he's talking so much right now? Because I told him when the video started, I said, Nick, this is a safe place. Let it all out.
Got him talking reckless.
Jay, join me in giving Nick a virtual hug. It's okay.
Love you, bro.
I'm just saying all that complaining y'all doing about these grown ass men y'all got playing y'all line. I'm just saying we got two freshmen starting. We did good.
Nick.
Against Alabama. Y'all got Nebraska.
Nick, it's okay. Cry if you have to. It's okay.
I'm not.
Y'all can't finish. It's okay, Nick.
All right. Y'all better
we here for you. Y'all better we here for you. We here for you.
This preview show and post-game show is going to be hilarious. I just know that much.
We always have a lot of fun. We always talk about this.
I still haven't heard from
each other all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
People think me and Nick really be beefing too. They're like, yeah.
Man, we take each other. Me, him, Steven, and Seth. It's like all day, every day. It's all good.
Nah, so I would just say this right here. No, I mean, I'm not. I just think that the narrative around the game is going to be, hey, this is the perfect storm or whatnot. They're going to come out here, guns are blazing. The crowd is going to be into it. It's OU rivalry game. No matter what, you know how this stuff goes. We can come in here. I've learned my lesson 1,000 times. I can come in here. I talk so much damn noise about Texas this, Texas that. I do feel like this year we go get that ass, but we'll talk about that later. But it's a rivalry game. So
is Nebraska really a rivalry game for y'all? I mean, do the players look at that as a rivalry? They don't do they? I mean, that's a rivalry. Do the players I can see, even though Texas A&M players and Texas players haven't played each other since the SEC, right? Came about for A&M. It's still a rivalry because they grew up in it. Kids that go to Oklahoma, they're not from Oklahoma 9 times out of 10. They're from Texas. They're from California. They're from Mississippi. Is Nebraska really a rivalry game for these kids?
It's more of a rivalry than O State is. I say that for sure. And I hope my girlfriend heard me say that too. So okay, all right. OU should win. They should cover. They should handle that. Guys, look, if you want my pick for the head coach, this is my parting shot. Gary Patterson makes the most sense in my opinion. If it happens, please don't at me because you weren't here with me. You weren't shooting in the gym with me. All right, for
All right,
real.
Meek.
All right. The last,
All right,
the
Kobe.
last, the last point that I want to get across. Let's we just talked about this on the other show. Okay, shout out to Ty around the table sports. We got to talk about it. We got Nick here. I want to know what he has to say. He's a Texas fan. This is his OU is their true rival, but this is their, I guess, their other rival, right?
Little
A&M.
brother.
A&M,
Oh, they say
bro.
they're big brother.
Who big bro?
Texas A&M.
1939.
I'm just saying.
Big bro?
I saw the tweet. Don't kill the messenger. I saw the tweet.
Hey man. People want to come play for the name across Texas. They don't want the other shit on the back end of Texas.
I'm just saying.
Like Oklahoma. They want to go to Oklahoma, not Oklahoma and the other shit on the back end of Oklahoma.
So,
Oklahoma.
that's true.
Texas.
So I will say this right
Michigan.
here. Nick, what are your thoughts about what's going on in Texas A&M right now?
You know what? And now I'm gonna say this without any ill intent, no hate, because Texas A&M got great players, man. They've been recruiting lights out. They got great players. I mean, you look at Evan Stewart, Shane. I mean, dude, they got it. The offensive line is stacked. Defensive line stacked. I mean, even though they lost to App State, they still only gave up 17 points on the defense side of the ball. It's not the defense's fault. The problem is, and Chris, we've talked about this plenty of times, it's that average head coach they got over there who made a living off of Jameis Winston. And after Jameis, he has been a 7-win coach, 8-win coach, basically.
8-5.
Hey, Francois, who else?
Kellen Mond.
Who just got cut,
Yeah. How do you cut this?
Think about this. They got one quarterback that he recruited a couple years ago who's now a tight end, right? If I'm not mistaken. Calzada left. Haynes King is probably not going to start next week. He's not that guy, right?
That guy.
He's just not that guy. And I'm sorry, folks. I'm not talking bad about these ain't kids no more. They got NIL deals. These ain't kids. They getting paid, right? I mean, these are not kids. Calzada's not that guy. I mean, I think A&M fans know it. So I'm sorry. Haynes King's not that guy. A&M fans know it. They keep telling me that. They be in my DMs like, oh my God, I wish we get rid of this kid. Seriously, right? Who's going to be the quarterback there? And not only who's going to be the quarterback, but what offensive system is Jimbo going to run? Jimbo's running a system that I just saw a great video about this today. He's running a 2014 system trying to make it seem like it's cool.
Yeah, that's what Josh Pate said on the late kick.
Did.
Yeah,
he
said
sure did.
expired drink. If you open this bad boy up out of the fridge and it says 2014, right?
Yeah, spoiled milk. That's
spoiled.
It. Chris, that's it, man. Spoiled milk.
And we talked about this, Chris. I'm trying to understand the appeal of Jimbo Fisher still. I don't get it. I mean,
because he talked like this and he got snuff and he fished that coach around there. That's it. That's it. Anyone in Natty, let's be honest. Jimbo was the only coach when Texas A&M made that hire. That was a hell of a hire. If Jimbo could have brought in the right staff around him, he's at a school that has all the resources. They're not gonna not build you a new gym and a new everything like Florida State they want to do for him. A&M has all the resources. They got oil money. They got a lot of money.
Does now, he want? Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just going to ask you a real quick question. Does he need to get offensive coordinator?
Yes, he needs to get somebody to revolutionize that offense because he has too much talent that he's wasting. He's wasting talent there.
He feels like he's too much of a egomaniac, control freak, whatever it is. Because you step away. He needs to pull a Saban. Step away. Let somebody else do it.
But he's a guy who has made his name being an offensive guy, right? He's made his name being an offensive guy. And for him to step away from being the offensive genius that he thinks he is, it's admitting defeat. And for A&M, that's admitting that they had the wrong hire. So they're in a mixed-up situation because they're not going to win. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that you're not going to win with Jimbo. Anything can happen. I'm not going to
Yeah,
say
sometimes you
Well,
can't be the chairman and the CEO of the company. Sometimes you need to either be the chairman or the CEO. In this situation, he needs to be the chairman and just be over the CEO and everybody else. You can't run or in the president.
Yeah,
You
that's what
can't
was
run
good
everything.
about. That's what was good about, the old Big 12. Stoops going against Mac Brown all the time. These guys were great coaches, but they were CEOs. They made the right
Mm-hmm.
hires at the coordinator positions. You saw Texas every year had a hell of a defensive coordinator, Muschamp or whoever. Great coaches at the positions. Akina getting Davis as your OC. I mean, they made good hires. Stoops
And
having his stable of folks, and you let your CEO go out there and recruit his ass off and bring that talent in for those guys to coach.
on top of that too, it's the losing of talent at coach and then replacing him with someone else. I mean, Stoops was one of the masterful ones going through. I mean, from Mike Leach to Kevin Wilson
He was
to,
killing it.
Sumlin was actually pretty good.
He was killing
Mangino,
it.
he had Kansas 12-1, which is still the craziest thing ever to happen in college football. I don't care
That's
what
when
nobody said.
they had
That
a
was the
squad.
wildest year
They had
ever.
a squad though. They had a squad.
I mean,
Akeem
he did.
Talib was in that team. Hey, they were something
They were
serious
it,
that year.
but Mangino walked in there and did that. So no, you're right. It's ability to bring in the coaches, and then as you promote them out, you bring more in or you promote up. It's hard to do. Jimbo Fisher ain't it though. That's the problem. I feel like he's gonna go the Charlie Strong way. He's gonna keep firing a whole bunch of coordinators and blaming everybody else, and eventually lose his job. But the fact that they owe him $95 million
He's
if
not
they
losing his
fire
job.
him for performance,
yeah.
He's
No,
not
it's
I
gonna be
mean,
hard to get rid of him.
And
Hey.
like I said, I mean, I'll just reiterate this point that I made on Ty's show. Look, maybe the problem isn't Jimbo. Maybe the problem is A&M trying to make that flash hire and say, oh yeah, we're going to sign him to a 10-year contract. That was the problem. I just, in this day and age with how college football is going, there's no way that I can go in there and sign a guy for 10 years. I just
Because
couldn't.
didn't they give him an extension
Yeah.
also? Yeah, so he's literally tied into that university now for at the end of this contract at least 16 years, right?
And that was his goal. And that's one of the reasons why. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody please fact check me if I'm wrong. But I think that was one of the reasons why he didn't go to LSU. I think LSU wanted him, but he wanted to lock in for 10 years. And I don't think they were willing to do that.
His agent, he has one of the best agents in the game. Is it Sexton? Is that
the same guy?
Jimmy
he's
Sexton?
He's the same agent for something too.
He's
right?
the SEC's agent, basically. He's agent for every SEC coach.
Yeah, he's the one who guarantees all the guaranteed deals. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Jimmy Sexton.
Hey man, I ain't hating.
Go.
I ain't hating him, bro.
Legend at the bank.
I'm just saying, I think that's a point that we have to talk about. Like, look, I like the coach up there at Michigan State, but I know they did the same thing. I'm just like, I don't necessarily know. If Sark was to go out there and win a Big 12 championship, I still think it would be a mistake if Texas signed him to a 10-year contract because it just doesn't make sense.
But you got to. You got to. If he goes and wins a Big 12 championship, you got to extend Sark. You ain't got a choice.
Hell, if he wins,
somebody else is going to try to steal him.
Year for sure.
It's gonna be interesting.
You know, I had to take a jab, but no, I mean, you guys get.
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
You see what I'm saying, though. I just think
I get you. It's a mistake. It is.
It's a mistake.
100% valid.
But
I totally get it. Everybody is all about recency bias. They're all about today, and they get excited, and it's all warm and fuzzy. And then after you get done getting married, you realize, oh wait, you don't wash your ass. Like, how's this going to work? This is not the relationship I thought I was in. I did not sign up for this. But that is the problem. That's what happens. That's the problem. You come in all smelling fresh and beautiful and you don't realize it. And then whenever, like I said, you get home, a year later, you're like, wait a minute, you are disgusting. So for a lot of these teams, they just want the feeling of being good. And that's what college football has caused when you got coaches like Nick Saban out here winning 30 million national championships. They got everybody thinking, well, I'm going to find myself a Nick Saban. Bro, you're not. Nick was a champion at LSU. Yeah. Then he left the NFL and came back. He knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing. And then also schools like A&M, and I hate to kind of pile up on them, but it is what it is. And I've said this before in the podcast as well. They want to be what Texas and Oklahoma are.
Yes.
But don't know how to be it.
No.
I think they left too soon for the SEC.
Yeah.
Remember, I said it in a podcast about a year and a half ago. I said, if Texas A&M would have stayed in the Big 12 and not went to the SEC at that point, they would have had Johnny football in the Big 12. They would have won the Big 12 and probably been playing in the playoffs. Do you know what that would have done for that program? But no, they wanted to make it about themselves because they thought all the money and all the hoopla and praise was on Oklahoma and Texas, which it was because we were holding up the conference. It is what it is. And they got sick and tired of it. But don't run from the challenge, run through the challenge. And they didn't do it.
Oh.
They ran to the SEC.
Oh.
No, I'm just being honest. They ran to the SEC to get away from Texas. And they ran to the SEC when they had their most talented roster in years. And they weren't SEC ready in the trenches yet. They had a better offensive line. That team did some great things in the SEC, but they weren't ready in those trenches yet. If they would have stayed in the Big 12, they would have went to the college football playoffs. And who knows for one game? When I got a month to prepare for somebody, who knows where I can scheme up? And that was their problem. But now they're in the SEC West, and instead of potentially finishing in the top 2 in the Big 12 and going to go play for a national championship eventually with Johnny Football and Mike Evans and all those boys, you're consistently finishing 4th and 5th in the SEC West.
Missouri's had more success than them.
Exactly.
Let's just keep it 100. Let's keep it 100.
Keep it a buck.
So
that was my SEC rant. That's definitely A&M rant.
My parting shot on them is this right here. Well, before I say that, Jay, you got anything else to add to that?
No, I'm Gucci on Jimbo Fisher. I'm still trying to figure out the appeal of the man. I just don't get it.
So this is my parting shot, all right? And I'm talking directly to the 12th man. Look, you're going out here calling people hillbillies. You're going out here talking about they can't read. But I can tell you this, those hillbillies counted 1.5 million times, and they said, my God, this is amazing.
Great.
We'll see y'all later, then.
You mean I get paid to whoop your ass? This is great.
Pay me? I'm all for it.
I told
we'll beat you right before supper.
Hey, my aunt said, hey man, I said, hey you know that they had to stay there in College Station last night. He said, really? He said, why? I said, supposedly travel woes. They had mechanical issues with their plane. Mom said,
I went to the club, did everything that night, boy. I'd have had my jersey on with grass stains still on it. I'd have been all in the club eating stank,
just out there spraying that, like you said, John Russell, that Axe body spray to cover it up, just in there getting it, just showing App State, baby. Taking one of these Aggies home with me.
It's just crazy. But one more shot at Texas A&M. I gotta take this shot. You know what? There really wasn't any difference in what Sam Houston State and Appalachian State did in either game, except for the fact that Appalachian State won.
Fair.
And well, the second difference is that Appalachian State didn't have some of the dogs that, I mean, not Appalachian State, but Sam Houston State didn't have some of the dogs that Appalachian State had.
Yeah.
They ran similar concepts against Texas A&M. You saw it. It was a blueprint. I keep telling y'all, Nick, take this. Jay, use this. People look for those blueprint games because those are how they beat you. So when you look at a game that a team struggles, I'm sure people are going to go back to this Kent State game or whatnot and say, oh, okay, so these are the ways that we can try to stop this fast offense, right? People are going to go back to some parts of the Alabama game.
Yeah, ours is Iowa State. Because they had like the safety look, the 3 high safety killed us.
So that's what I'm saying. So you look for those blueprint games. Sam Houston State laid it out there. Appalachian State laid it out there. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell to say about this Miami and Texas A&M game. It could be really ugly for the boys.
It's going to get nasty. A&M might go. They might start the season off 2-6.
You say 2-6?
I think in the first 8 games they might start the season off 2-6. Let me pull up this schedule right quick.
Don't tell Des Howard that he'll have a heart attack.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop.
We'll end it on a high note. What are some games that you guys are looking forward to watching around the college football world this weekend? Jay, we'll start
Real
with
quick, Nick, you're right. They got Miami next at the house, Arkansas
Yep.
at the house.
Yep.
They travel to Mississippi State. That's an L. And they travel to Alabama right afterwards. They may lose 4 straight. Traveling to South Carolina, they should win that one.
I don't know. Chris is that's Chris's homeboy, man. Baby Mahomes, right?
Look,
That what you call him, right?
Now, people, I do have to come on here and say something.
No,
Okay.
no. No. You said.
Look. All right, I have to admit to the good people. I did say South Carolina would be 3-0 during the first 3 weeks of the year.
Oh gosh, big yikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they
what
lost.
Are they now?
They're 1-1.
Okay.
Yep. They lost last week.
That's right. I mean, but that's a respectable loss, though. Arkansas is
But
good.
listen. They're going to get the win this weekend against Georgia. You heard it here first. Say the receipt. I know that you're going to do that. Say the receipt.
God.
Say the receipt.
God.
I got to record
on every channel that you got.
I'm going to clip it. I already know the time. 1:20. I'm clipping this one.
Y'all want me to say it
No.
again?
We Gucci.
Yeah, one more time.
Gucci.
One more time.
One more time. Go ahead.
Say one more time. South Carolina Gamecocks will beat the Georgia Bulldogs September 17th. Get your popcorn ready.
So the games that I'm looking forward to next week, this weekend coming up, besides that Miami A&M game, it's a night game. It's going to be beautiful. But I think something to look at that this one kind of jumped out to me earlier, and I was like, what's this going to look like? That BYU Oregon game. I'm intrigued to see if Lanning and them are going to be able to bounce back, or BYU's for real. I mean, right now they looking like they serious and they taking no prisoners. And they're in Oregon, so that one will be that's a tough 2:30 game for me. And then of course, the day game for me, if anything, besides Oklahoma and Nebraska, that Georgia South Carolina game, I do think that one's going to be an interesting game. I want to see how that South Carolina offense does against that Georgia defense. I think that's going to be the determining factor. I don't think they have the juice for it. So, like I said, I clipped that bad boy because I don't feel like they got it. Because Rattler wasn't looking very well last week. He ain't been looking very well this season at all. So we'll give him a little love. We'll see what it look like. But that Penn State Auburn game is also a game that's of intrigue.
Yeah,
that's a 2:30 kickoff. Woo!
It's
gonna be some
pretty decent games.
Decent games. It's gonna be decent. It's gonna be a decent weekend. I'm here for it. And honestly, Michigan State Washington's not that bad of a thought.
Yeah,
Mel Tucker's still trying to figure out his life, and he's traveling out there to.
He ain't figuring out his life. Washington. He rich now. He rich. He ain't figuring out his life. He good. He got $100 million guaranteed, $98 million guaranteed. Oh, he good. What did Edo say? You give me $17 million. Show me the check.
Show me the check. You want me to pay me $17 million, not the coach? Sign me up. Go Tigers.
Oh man. Well, Chris, you know what I'm looking forward to. I want to see how Texas is going to play. I want to see who they're going to trot out at at the quarterback position, whether it's going to be Hudson Card or Charles Wright. It's going to be interesting, and I want to see the ripples that they're going to have in this offense. It's going to be a lot of Rojo. I'm with you on that Georgia, South Carolina. That's the 12 o'clock game. I'm going to probably watch that one.
And it's in South Carolina. So that's the thing. I think that's the thing to think about is that it's a road game for Georgia.
It is. I'll watch the Oklahoma, Nebraska. I kind of lightweight pull for Nebraska a little bit because my cousin's committed there for next year.
Not for long.
You ain't got him to commit to Texas yet?
I mean, you seen the wide receivers Texas got?
Touche. I'm not even gonna argue with you. That's touche. Monsters.
What's that?
Hey, Nick. Did you see that touchdown by Drake Stoops the other night?
I don't watch no Drake.
I just asking. Hey, Jay. tell me this right now. If I roll the football out there and I say, hey Jay, you the head coach, right? I say, hey, Coach Jay, we got 2 receivers right here. Who you want? You want Whittington or you want Drake Stoops? Who you going with?
Oh man, you would do something like that, wouldn't you? I'm probably picking Drake. The man just gets open.
That's all I wanted.
He gets open.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your little OU biases. All right.
That OU bias did kick in, but at the same time, no, that's the one thing about Drake I think I've appreciated about him. It makes me feel like, I'm not saying he is him, but it's an liking of the Edelman Wes Welker type setup.
The boy got 191 yards his whole career.
Hey,
little fast white dudes who just get open.
Who is yeah, we'll see. Nick doesn't like the conversation because we talk about production, but that's another conversation for another day. Go ahead, Nick, pick your games.
Yeah, so I said, let's say, of course, Texas UTSA. I do want to see that Georgia South Carolina game. I want to see Auburn Penn State to be decent. I think a game that's going to probably shock some people, and Seth's going to love it. I'm going to say this: NC State and Texas Tech. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Seth's a big fan of NC State's coach, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing. What's his name? Dorn, right? Dorn. How you say it? Dorn. David Dorn. How does Seth say it? Nah, but he can coach though. He can coach. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. He can coach. But yeah, NC State and Texas Tech, because I wouldn't mind seeing how Texas Tech's offense is going to run. Against some real competition. And yeah, Texas A&M Miami. That's the 9:00 game. So after Texas beats up on UTSA, I'll flip it over and watch Texas A&M against Miami halfway through the third quarter, and hopefully Miami's up, 48 to 14.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say 2 games that you guys didn't say. I'm gonna say Fresno State and USC.
Ooh.
And then I'm also going to talk about let's see.
What's that Liberty game?
Where's that game at? Damn. I literally just had it.
Jay Kiner, baby, at Fresno State. Yeah, he's going to be fun to watch.
Look, Ole Miss at Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech didn't look so good as Clemson.
They really didn't.
With DJU, DJU ain't, and Georgia Tech looked like they were good for the first quarter. And then they were poo after that.
Yeah, I'm not sold on them. Hey, you gotta ask. Nick's gonna have to ask Tashard Choice over there and ask him what the heck's going on at Georgia Tech.
Well, his star running back, is playing for Alabama now. So
very much, exactly my point.
Y'all got out while it was good.
Yeah,
but y'all got anything else? Y'all think we covered everything?
I think we good, man. We're gonna put this kid to bed, man.
I'm gonna eat my food, my dinner.
Nick,
good chopping it up with y'all.
Well, I'll say this right here. Nick, tell everybody where they can find you at, man.
Man, Nino's Corner. You see it, like down there in that ticker. Nino's Corner on Twitter, on YouTube. Just go look it up, man. I'm on my road to 4,000 subscribers. I'm like at 38 or 3,900 now. Go subscribe to my damn channel. Get the good information. I just did a good Alabama versus Texas recap, and I had the stats and just showing, I do stuff, third down conversions, folks, I watched the game 3 or 4 times, so I go through all the formations and the personnel packages and tell you which ones were successful or not, so yeah, I put a lot of work into that stuff. So if you can, man, go to Nino's Corner Sports, man, on YouTube, go to Nino's Corner on Twitter, or go to ninoscornersports.com. You can see everything there.
Okay.
Sweet. Yep. Jay, Unfair Sports. You can follow me on Twitter at Unfair Sports is the main sports channel. My personal, you'll see it in the description there. Just click on the link. Follow me there. And yeah, get on my YouTube channel. I do a whole bunch of OU content. I'm venturing into some college football content to go with it. So I'm going to start eventually doing live events in the future, but I'm on the road to 2,200 right now. And we just surpassed 2,100. Yeah. Making moves. Show some love. If you like to hear the jokes and the corny stuff that I'm doing right now, come on over to my corner as well. I'll be doing some stuff there. So it's been great. It's been great, Nick. Great to meet you.
Yeah, man.
Chris, thanks for putting it together.
We ain't done yet. I gotta say, hey, shout out to Queen Ewers, man. If y'all want some merch, holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? The Bullet Boy t-shirt. These on sale now. You know what I'm saying? All tape. We still there. We still in here. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to say
You wish you had a Quinn
shout out to
Ewers.
shout out to the OU faithful, Boomer Sooner, horns down. You know what I'm saying? It's been another episode. Nick.
What's up?
Next time we come on a show together, please, I will drive to Connecticut and I'll have to fight you. Don't ever bring up Tom Herman around me. That man doesn't exist.
he coached my team. I don't know what you mad about.
I'm just saying.
I should be the one mad.
I ain't got no love. You bring up Tom Herman, I see red. I see it flash.
What did he do to you? What did he do to you?
I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. All right. But anyways, y'all, this has been another episode of the Horns Down Podcast. Always down.
Always up.
Y'all be easy.